I have a gentleman that works for me. He's a young guy. He's probably 24, 25 years old. And he was mentioning to me the other day that he's thinking about asking his longtime girlfriend to get married. Marriage is great. Don't get me wrong. I've been married for half of my life. Do the math. Quite a long time. Marriage is a good thing, but it is not something that you should jump off into lightly. Marriage is a long-term commitment, okay? Nothing wrong with getting married. I haven't given him any advice. I have talked to my own sons about this, but the advice that I would give anybody, a man or a woman, who is considering getting married, is this. And you might be in a situation where you're single and thinking about getting married, or perhaps you're a parent or a grandparent. You know, maybe you're just a friend and you know somebody that's thinking about asking their significant person in their life about getting married. Here's what I advise. We're all attracted to other people by, first off, the physical appearance. It's a fact. You can't deny it. And then after that, you get to know this person, and yeah, she's really hot, he's really a hunk, whatever the case may be. I really like being with him. He's got a good personality. She likes horses, and he really gets me, or whatever the case may be. But so the relationship grows, right? But here's the thing, and I know I've kind of edged around it a few times. Here's the main thing. You need to really make sure that there's nothing about this other person that gets on your nerves, or that you just can't get over. You know, it could be a little thing. It just oh well, I love her so much, and she's sweet, and my parents like her, and I can overlook that. Whatever that little thing might be, and it might be maybe the way this person treats a wait staff, or maybe it's a flash of anger that comes up at weird times, or maybe it's just some little weird little quirk that the other person has. If you don't confront that, if you don't get that out in the open, if you don't talk about that, and you just kind of pass it over and say, well, yeah, it's not that big a deal, I can live with it, and I really love her, and he really loves me, and we're really in love, and our life is going to be great. That little thing, whatever it might be, if you can't really get over it, it's going to be like a little bitty piece of sand that's caught in your sandal. It's going to be like a little aggravation in your shoe. You know what I'm talking about? And every step, and that's what life is. Life is one step after another. Every step, you're gonna feel that little aggravation, whatever it might be, and it's going to come back, and you're going to regret it. Now, I've never been divorced. I don't plan on getting divorced. Like I said, I've been married going on 30 years now. I hear it's terrible. I just hear it's terrible. Especially if you got kids involved, and it's not something that I want to go through. And you've probably been through, hell, maybe you've even been through divorce, so you can probably counsel me on all the BS you have to go through a divorce, even if it is a friendly divorce. But if you haven't been through a divorce, you've probably been through a breakup where you've had somebody and you just thought this was the one, and it didn't work out. And, even that can be traumatic in and of itself. But you don't want to get to a point where you're with a partner, and that's what this is. Marriage is a partnership. And it's about being with somebody that you're committed to, that you trust and they trust you. You got to have that. That is so very important. But if there's that one little aggravation, or maybe it's more than one little aggravation that you've just brushed over, saying that you can live with it, you got to confront that. As trust me, it is better to confront it when it happens before the relationship gets too much further down the road, rather than to wait 5, 10 years down the road, however many years, and maybe you've got children that are now involved, and maybe you've got lives together that are involved, and being married is complicated. Life is complicated. And if you get to a point to where that little grain of sand in your shoe, to where you can't stand it anymore, and it just keeps coming a point of contention, you got a problem, and you don't want to be there. It's going to be easier if you talk about it when you first realize it. And it doesn't have to be a confrontation. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying, hey, I noticed that, that glance that you just gave when I said this, or when you heard that, or your reaction to that situation was kind of took me by surprise, or, why do you feel that way? Because that kind of runs contrary to what I think. Anyway, you get my examples, right? If you don't confront that then and there, and have that open and honest conversation with that person, it's going to be a lot harder the longer that you put it off, and the more that you and the other person have invested in the relationship, it's going to be just that much harder. So before you commit yourself and you have the other person commit themselves to you, make sure that there is absolutely nothing that you guys can't talk about, and that you can't live with. Make sure that everything's out in the open and everybody's in agreement, and it will just really save you so much trouble down the road. If you got an example of kind of like what I'm talking about here, why don't you leave me a comment down below, because I'd really love to hear it. Like I said, I've not been divorced. I've gone through some breakups. Hell, who hasn't? But if you got some advice on this subject about being prepared for marriage, drop me a comment down below. Appreciate you guys sticking with me. You're the best subscribers here on YouTube. I don't know if anybody's told you that, but I'm going to tell you that. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not. Otherwise, I'll see you later. Hill Country Prepper.